What if your dog is not just watching your child, but instinctively protecting them? Across homes worldwide, female dogs have been observed quietly positioning themselves near toddlers, responding instantly to cries and standing guard without being taught. This is not training. This is not coincidence. Tonight, we uncover the biology behind what many owners call the nanny instinct, and why female dogs may be hormonally and evolutionarily wired to protect the smallest humans in their family. Chapter 1 Biology Behind the Nanny. Look, when a toddler wobbles across a living room and a female dog quietly shifts her body to form a soft barrier, it can look like training, manners, or a bit of family magic. Under the fur, it can also be biology. Mammal motherhood is not a single switch. It is a layered program built from hormones, brain circuits, learning, and the social environment. In female dogs, that program evolved to keep helpless pups alive, and in some homes it can spill outward toward the smallest humans in the household, especially when the dog is relaxed, well-socialized, and strongly bonded to the family. Start with prolactin, the hormone most people link to milk. In dogs, prolactin rises around whelping and stays high through lactation, supporting nursing, but it also has behavioral effects. Researchers and veterinary sources describe prolactin as part of the machinery behind maternal motivation. The urge to stay near young, the tendency to build a nest, the impulse to gather, carry, or mother objects, and a sharpened watchfulness toward anything that approaches. In canine pseudopregnancy, which can happen even when a bitch is not actually pregnant, prolactin is strongly implicated, and the outward signs can look startlingly like real motherhood: nest building, adopting toys, mammary changes, milk secretion, and sometimes a defensive edge that owners interpret as protectiveness. Prolactin does not work alone. Oxytocin, famous for uterine contractions and milk ejection, is also tied to mother-infant interactions across mammals. In domestic dogs, researchers have investigated oxytocin in relation to maternal care in lactating mothers, exploring how oxytocin measures relate to behaviors like licking, nursing posture, contact time, and proximity. The bigger point is not that oxytocin is a magic love chemical, but that it is part of a coordinated system that tunes the mother's brain toward bonding, soothing, and staying close, while also maintaining a readiness to respond if something threatens the young. Now add evolution. In canids, pups are born helpless. They cannot regulate temperature well, cannot move far, and their distress calls are loud and urgent because being ignored can be fatal. Selection rewards females who respond rapidly to infant cues, keep pups warm and clean, and defend the den. Domestic dogs inherited that foundation from their ancestors, and then humans reshaped it. Domestication repeatedly favored individuals that could live near people. Less fear, more social tolerance, better attention to human faces and signals, and a stronger tendency to cooperate. The result is a species unusually tuned to human behavior, including the behavior of human children. This is where toddlers enter the story. A toddler is not a puppy, but to a dog senses some features rhyme. Toddlers are small, noisy, emotionally intense, and physically unsteady. Their movements can be sudden and unpredictable. Their distress can be loud and sharp. Dogs are sensitive to human emotion and distress cues, and research on emotional contagion suggests dogs show distinctive responses to human infant crying, combining alertness with behavior consistent with concern or arousal. In a family home, that means a dog can learn that toddler distress is important information, and a female dog whose maternal circuitry is easily recruited may show extra attention around those cues. Owners often describe this attention as she is being a nanny. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is simply a calm, well-trained dog choosing proximity. Sometimes it is a dog doing what social animals do, positioning themselves near the vulnerable member of the group, then watching the adults for guidance. And sometimes, crucially, it is the beginning of guarding. That last word matters. Protective is not automatically safe. Veterinary references on pseudopregnancy list aggression alongside maternal behavior as a possible sign, and surveys of pseudopregnancy note aggression is not uncommon. In other words, the same hormonal and motivational state that can produce gentle caregiving can also produce defensiveness, especially if the dog feels the child is hers, if the dog is anxious, if the household is chaotic, or if the adults accidentally praise the wrong thing. A dog that blocks a toddler from a staircase can be helpful. A dog that blocks a parent from picking up a crying toddler is not helpful, even if it looks like devotion. So if there is a nanny gene, it is not a single gene and it is not a guarantee. It is a poetic label for a real cluster of mammalian systems: prolactin shaping maternal motivation, oxytocin supporting bonding and soothing, domestication shaping dogs to read human signals, and learning shaping daily behavior. When those pieces align, a female dog can look like she is biologically wired to watch over a toddler. The more accurate truth is that she is biologically prepared to care for vulnerable young, and in some homes, she extends that pattern to the smallest human because the cues and the social environment pull that circuitry into action. Chapter 2. How the Instinct Gets Pointed at Human Children. To understand why a dog can look like she has clocked in for childcare, picture the dog's inner priority system. Motherhood shifts priorities by changing how the brain values certain stimuli. Infant cues rise to the top. Prolactin can increase responsiveness to those cues and can intensify focus. Oxytocin can strengthen bonding and support calm contact. Other chemicals and circuits adjust fear, reward, motivation, and vigilance. In the wild, that package is a survival tool. In a modern home, it can become a pattern of monitoring, blocking, following, and checking that owners interpret as a nanny role. Dog maternal behavior often unfolds in stages. Right after birth, the dam cleans pups, licks to stimulate them, keeps them warm with contact, and positions for nursing. She is quick to respond to squeaks and yelps. Over weeks, as pups become sturdier, she spends more time away, returning to supervise and correct, nudging independence while still protecting. Domestic dogs vary widely in maternal style, and research reviews highlight how maternal behavior is influenced by stress, environment, prior experience, and individual temperament, not only hormones. A toddler can hook into this system through 4 big channels: sound, smell, movement, and social meaning. Sound is the obvious one. Human infant cries contain features designed by evolution to be hard to ignore. Dog research on emotional contagion suggests dogs respond in distinctive ways to infant crying, which means a crying baby or toddler can act like a powerful attention magnet in the dog's brain. In daily life, the dog also learns that crying predicts adult urgency. The parent moves fast, voice changes, body language tightens, routines shift. Dogs are excellent at predicting what comes next. For some dogs, especially those prone to vigilance, the child's cry becomes a cue to lock in and monitor the situation. Smell matters more than people realize. Dogs live in scent first. Babies and toddlers come with constant odor signals: milk, formula, food spills, laundry detergent, baby wipes, nappy cream, and the unique scent of a small human. A female dog in a pseudo-pregnancy window may already have a drive to nest and mother, which can show up as gathering soft items or guarding a bed-like space. Veterinary sources describe nest building and maternal behavior as classic pseudo-pregnancy signs, and prolactin is strongly linked to that state. In a home with a toddler, the child's blankets and toys are exactly the sort of soft, centric objects that can recruit that pattern. Movement is where the nanny story can turn into a control story. Toddlers are erratic. Some dogs cope brilliantly. Others find toddler movement stressful, triggering startle or avoidance, and some dogs try to manage it. Herding breeds may circle, block, or gently mouth clothing. Guarding breeds may position themselves between toddler and doorway. Sometimes this looks like protection, but it can also be the dog attempting to control a moving stimulus. In a calm dog, blocking can be a neutral choice of position. In a tense dog, blocking can be the start of possessive guarding. Social meaning is the biggest channel of all. Dogs have lived alongside humans long enough to become unusually good at reading us. Comparative cognition research argues that domestication shaped dogs toward cooperative communication and attention to human cues. Many families treat the baby as the center of gravity. Adults move carefully around the child, speak softly, respond immediately to distress, and build routines around sleep and feeding. The dog is watching all of this. If the dog is bonded and well socialized, she may mirror the household's protective focus, not as a moral decision but as a social one. This tiny human matters to the group, so it matters to her. Now here is the key distinction: calm caretaking versus tense guarding. Calm caretaking looks like soft eyes, relaxed posture, easy movement, and the ability to disengage. The dog chooses to lie near the toddler, but she can also move away. She watches, then relaxes. She responds to crying by looking up, perhaps approaching briefly, then looking to the adult for guidance. Tense guarding looks like stiffness, hard staring, freezing, blocking, hovering, lip lifting, growling, or snapping. The dog acts like the toddler is a resource. When an adult approaches the toddler, the dog escalates. This is where the nanny gene story becomes dangerous, because it can cause an owner to praise or tolerate behavior that is actually a warning sign. Hormones can amplify whichever direction the dog already leans. Veterinary sources and surveys on pseudopregnancy note that aggression can occur alongside maternal behavior. High prolactin states have been associated with behavioral changes, and some literature links elevated prolactin with maternal aggression in certain contexts. That does not mean prolactin causes bites by itself. It means the dog's motivational balance can shift toward defensiveness at the same time the dog feels an urge to mother. Combine that with household stress, disrupted routine, and reduced exercise, and a dog can become more reactive. So what should a family do with a dog that seems to nanny a toddler? Treat it as information, not destiny. Watch the body language. Consider timing in the reproductive cycle. Use management, baby gates, pens, and safe zones so the dog has an escape route and the toddler cannot grab. Reward calm disengagement as much as calm closeness. If there is any sign of tense guarding, separate immediately and bring in professional support. The nanny story can be real, but it is only safe when it is paired with human management, clear boundaries, and a dog who is genuinely relaxed. Chapter 3. Making it safe, realistic, and kind. If you want the most accurate version of this concept, replace wired to protect toddlers with prepared to care for vulnerable young and capable of extending that care to human children under the right conditions. That single change keeps the wonder without selling a fantasy. It also points to what matters, the conditions. Start before the baby arrives. The best predictor of safe dog-toddler life is not a hormone, it is training and temperament. A dog should have reliable foundation skills, settle on cue, come when called, leave objects alone, and disengage when asked. These skills matter because toddlers are unpredictable. If a toddler falls onto a dog's body, if a toddler grabs fur, if food is dropped, if the dog is startled awake, the dog needs a learned habit of moving away rather than reacting. Plan for stages. A newborn is mostly smell and sound. A crawler adds movement and grabbing. A toddler adds speed, squeals, and impulsive touch. Many dogs cope fine with the newborn stage and struggle later when the child becomes mobile. This is also the period when some dogs begin to control the toddler's movement, especially herding types. Control can look gentle at first, blocking, circling, or nudging. The risk is not that the dog is evil. The risk is frustration and escalation if the dog feels responsible for stopping chaos. Now bring hormones back in, because timing can shift behavior in predictable windows. After estrus, bitches experience a luteal phase whether pregnant or not, and pseudopregnancy can occur in that period. Veterinary references describe behavioral signs like nesting and maternal behavior, and note physical signs like mammary changes and milk secretion, and they also acknowledge aggression can appear in some cases. In a home with a toddler, that can translate into unusual attachment to toys or bedding, increased irritability, increased hovering, or increased defensiveness around nests like sofas and dog beds. This is not a reason to panic. It is a reason to manage carefully and, if needed, consult a veterinarian about the behavioral change. Supervision is non-negotiable. Dogs are not childcare. Even the gentlest dog can bite if startled, hurt, or overwhelmed, and toddlers are experts at sudden, clumsy contact. The safest definition of supervision is active. An adult is close enough to intervene instantly, reading both toddler and dog and controlling access. If the dog and toddler share space, the adult's job is to prevent trouble before it starts, not to celebrate the dog for protecting the baby. When it goes well, it looks like regulation. The toddler squeals, the dog glances, then relaxes. The toddler cries, the dog becomes alert, then looks to the parent and stays calm. That pattern fits what we know about dogs being tuned to human cues through domestication, and it fits what we know about dogs responding to distress signals. It is not mystical. It is social cognition plus training plus a calm temperament. When it goes poorly, it looks like overarousal. The toddler cries, the dog rushes in, stiffens, blocks, licks frantically, paws, and growls when an adult reaches toward the child. That is not nannying. That is guarding or panic. The correct response is immediate separation, reduced exposure, and professional help from a qualified trainer and a veterinarian. There is no shame in that. It is how you protect both dog and child. If you want the affectionate story without the risk, aim for cooperative caregiving, not possessive protection. Cooperative caregiving means the dog supports the adult caregiver. She can alert, but she yields space on cue. She can lie nearby, but she can also rest behind a barrier. She is gentle, but she does not take control. Training can formalize this. Send the dog to a mat when the toddler becomes active, reward the dog for staying there, and give the dog enrichment so she does not feel she has to monitor constantly. Also remember that dogs absorb household stress. The same domestication that makes dogs bond strongly with humans also makes them sensitive to our arousal. A tense, sleep-deprived home can create a hypervigilant dog. Hypervigilance can be misread as protectiveness. Internally, it is often anxiety. Support the dog's routine to support everyone. Predictable feeding, adequate exercise, quiet rest, and one-on-one attention that does not revolve around the toddler. So is a female dog biologically wired to protect toddlers? The truthful answer is, female dogs are biologically prepared to care for vulnerable young, and hormones like prolactin and oxytocin can increase caretaking motivation in certain contexts. Domestic dogs are also biologically and behaviorally shaped by domestication to attend to human cues, including distress. In the right home with the right dog, those forces can combine into something that looks like a gentle nanny. But it is not a guarantee, and it is never a substitute for supervision. The best outcome is not a dog that protects a toddler from the world. The best outcome is a dog who feels safe in the toddler's world, and a toddler who grows up learning calm, respectful boundaries around animals. Female dogs are not babysitters, and instinct alone is never a substitute for supervision. But when biology, bonding, and environment align, the result can look astonishingly close to care. Understanding this instinct is not about myth or sentiment. It is about respect, responsibility, and keeping both dogs and children safe. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy calm, research-driven storytelling like this, subscribe, like, and share. It truly helps the channel grow.